Hi, this is Kay. This video is called Kay's Raw Dog Food and Raw Cat Food. Since pet food, that's commercial, has been designed to make use of wastes left over that are not, from the human food that are not fit for human consumption, people have been bamboozled or brainwashed or under the spell of this marketing. It is not right. Neither humans nor animals were designed to live out of a can, a bag, or a box. And the very best of the natural pet foods, even the grain-free pet foods, are loaded with carbohydrates. It's usually either potatoes or peas or soy or something like that, because they're not grains. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to read to you a culmination of what's come together after almost 30 years of studying the ancestral dog and cat diet. Here I go. I'm going to read this because I don't want to leave anything out, and I've revised it to make it much more simple and streamlined. Okay, so important. Amounts of ingredients are per day, regardless of how it may be divided into 1, 2, or 3 meals. 3 meals are suggested for rapidly growing puppies and kittens. Meat. Raw meat is as naturally raised as possible without hormones and antibiotics, preferably pasture-raised, whole ground turkey and or whole ground chicken, with raw bones ground right into the meat if possible. You may have a grinder that's very advanced that can do that, and certain whole food type grocery stores have machines that can do that. If you can't get the raw bones ground into them, then just get it without the raw bones. Okay. This meat makes up nearly 1/3 to 1/2 of each meal. Cats eat a slightly higher proportion of meat to plant food than dogs do. This comes out to full-grown dogs eating a total of about 1/4 cup of meat per 15 pounds of body weight, with the exception of rapidly growing puppies, who may need as much as double the food an adult does per body weight. Full-grown cats eat about 1/4 cup per 10 pounds of body weight, and rapidly growing kittens, like dogs, may need double what an adult cat eats. Note, per body weight, that is. Note, bones must be raw, because cooked bones are sharp like glass. Do not use cooked bones. As a matter of fact, when you give them bones to chew, please don't give them your leftover steak bones, because they're still cooked and they're brittle, and they will bite off pieces that are sharp that will go down their intestines and that could be disastrous. So-called pet food causes their digestion to atrophy, so it is logical that elderly dogs and cats may have to start with a smaller amount of meat than suggested, but if their poop is solid, you are not transitioning them too quickly. Beware, commercial pet food is overly loaded with addictive carbohydrates, sugars, and flavorings, so a small number of pets may resist a much purer raw diet such as this. However, if you persist, they will grow to prefer such clean, raw food. It might not be so bad if they go hungry a day or two. Their body can fast during that time as long as they drink water and get a lot of impurities out of their body. And also, it'll help them transition to not craving those carbs and flavorings. Okay, so I've noticed that if you persist, they will grow to prefer such raw and clean food. Most dogs and cats prefer this raw and clean food, and they thrive on it right away. Every dog or cat I've owned, fostered, babysat, or whose owners I coached into doing a diet like this, all had them transition right away. Once in a while there was a little craving issue for some old addictive food, but all you have to do is wait it out and know that you're the boss, you're their keeper, and that nutrition will win. Number 2 is fresh plant food. Raw, pureed, equal parts of these 3. This is for dogs and cats. Organic carrots, organic celery, and or dandelion leaves. The celery and dandelion leaves are relatively interchangeable. And organic apples. That's the carrots, the celery, and or dandelion, and apples. And what you do is you puree it in a blender or food processor until it's a baby food texture. Note, the apples are omitted and carrots are minimized if your pet is obese, diabetic, or has cancer because of the sugar content. And sugary apples should be replaced with extra organic dandelion leaf and or celery. Excessive sugars or carbs cause insulin resistance and carb cravings, just like in people. And they destabilize the diabetic metabolism. They require more insulin, and insulin is not good for any of us, as in the insulin, as a prescription. Cancer, along with most infection, thrives on excess sugar and or carbs that turn to sugar. And all carbs will turn to sugar within a few minutes. With dogs, plant foods make up approximately 1/2 of each meal in volume. So the volume of plant food per body weight is similar to the meat, but a little higher than the meat content per body weight. Cats, since they need more meat in proportion to plant food than dogs do, with cats, that need more meat in proportion to plant food than dogs do, the volume of plant food for cats is about 1/3 of each meal. Number 3, egg yolks. Raw, pasture-raised, organic egg yolks. Approximately 1/3 yolk per 10 pounds of body weight for dogs and cats per day, with a limit of 2 whole yolks per 50 pounds of body weight. Note, the yolks must be raw. Raw egg whites interfere with biotin absorption. Do not use raw egg whites. Discard the whites or cook them for the humans. Supplements. Note, total amounts listed below are preferably split into meals. Oil. Carlson's unflavored cod liver oil. I'm going to show you mine. Unflavored. Carlson's and Nordic Naturals are probably the 2 best brands. Carlson's is just as good and extremely pure, and it's cheaper than Nordic Naturals. Of this cod liver oil, you use 1/4 teaspoon per 10 pounds of body weight in the dog or the cat. For very active and or growing dogs, add healthy fat calories by giving up to 1 tablespoon of organic extra virgin olive oil per 10 pounds of body weight. Here's just one of many. Notice organic and extra virgin, because there's a lot of fraud in the olive oil world, where a whole lot of rancid, other unhealthy vegetable oils are slipped in, and it's flavored so that you don't necessarily notice it. So really be careful with your olive oil. This olive oil is also permissible for cats, but some cats don't like olive oil. The quantity of olive oil may need to be adjusted repeatedly depending on varying growth and activity level. The goal of attaining a fit animal is to see a definite waistline, especially when you look over the top of them from the bird's eye view. But you don't want to see the ribs. No visible waistline means they're overfat, while visible ribs mean they're too thin. Any vet will tell you the same thing. It's the same guidelines, and it works for all of them. Kind of works for humans, too. You want to see a good waistline, but you don't want your ribs popping out. High-quality nutritional yeast, not fortified with artificial B vitamins, if possible. 1 teaspoon per 10 pounds. I'm not showing you a brand here. I happen to get mine in bulk, and there's no brand label on it. Several brands are available online and in most health food stores. Organic kelp powder, 1/4 teaspoon per 10 pounds. My best source is mountainroseherbs.com, which I will show you a bag of it. If you keep it in the bag, keep it double bagged in all of these herbs in a dark, cool cabinet. I happen to pour mine out into jars with little spoons in them to dole them out, so that I'm not constantly struggling with double plastic bags. Okay. Just a moment. Okay. My best source, like I said, is mountainroseherbs.com. All of their herbs are organic and extremely high quality and just as competitive as anyone else. and I don't have any affiliation with them. I've been buying from Mountain Rose for almost 30 years, and I really can't improve on their sources. For additional mineral salts, electrolytes, and energy, especially for their adrenal glands, 1/16 of a teaspoon of unrefined sea salt per 10 pounds of body weight, which translates to about 3 shakes from an average salt shaker per 10 pounds of dog or cat per day. Measure and test your salt shaker if you are unsure. I'm going to show you, I get mine in bulk. This is the Redmond brand real salt. I'll hold it up to the camera and you can probably see the speckles in it, which are the color of the actual minerals. There are other good unrefined sea salts like Himalayan salt or a grayish Celtic salt, but I really think that the one called real salt made by Redmond is the most mineral balanced. Okay, just a moment. Let me switch my only 2 pages here. Bear with me. Okay, this Redmond sea salt called real salt is available in most health food stores and also online, and it's very economical too. I think that its minerals are more balanced, really, for sure, especially the iodine. So it really is my favorite, and I think you might want to try it also for yourself. Okay, next one is organic dandelion root powder. That is in addition to fresh dandelion that I grow. I got videos on that. 1/4 teaspoon of this dandelion root powder per 10 pounds. A substitute, if you must, is organic alfalfa leaf powder. I happen to use both. My best source for both is mountainroseherbs.com, or if you grow your own dandelion, you can dry it out and grind it to a powder. This is Mountain Rose Herbs dandelion root powder. I don't know how well you can see that. And that's my stash, which I put into a jar and spoon it out from a jar. The next one is organic spirulina powder, 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon per 10 pounds of body weight. My best sources are mountainroseherbs.com or the Now brand, but get organic or don't use it. And here's the Mountain Rose Herbs organic spirulina powder. And this one is made by the Now company. They make both the one that's organic and the one that's not. So this is a whole pound at an economical price, which is similar to the Mountain Rose price. And the quality is fairly interchangeable. The reason to not use any blue-green algae, and that's a blue-green algae, to not use any blue-green algae that is not organic is because when they're grown in water that is not clean and can't produce an organic product, they will pick up heavy metals and transfer them to your animal or to your cell. So that is why that is the most critical part here of all the plant food powders that must be organic. Okay, MSM, glucosamine, and chondroitin for breeds that are prone to hip dysplasia. I use the human grade Natural Factors brand MSM joint formula, which is right here. The light is shining funny, so it might be glary. And I give my German Shepherds 2 capsules twice per day. That's an adult human dose. I avoid chewables because they are full of unhealthy ingredients and also more expensive to use. For cats, 1/2 capsule or about 250 milligrams of taurine powder per day. This is crucial because some cats have been known to be deficient in taurine if it is not specifically added to their food. My cat was fine without it for about 6 years because of supplemental sources of it, like egg yolk, nutritional yeast, and spirulina. But I later added taurine anyway. Don't risk the deficiency. I use the Now brand of taurine powder. I don't have it here, but it doesn't matter. Just get some decent brand of pure taurine powder, and then you don't get all the fillers that are in the capsules. But it would be equivalent to about a 1/2 capsule per day. Dog snacks: organic celery sticks, organic cabbage leaves, organic carrot shavings. The reason I say shavings on the carrot is because when they eat a chunk comes out. They don't break it down. Okay. Minimize the cabbage or crucifer family. Crucifer family is like cabbage, cauliflower, broccoli, kale, and things like that. The reason for this is if there's a thyroid disease, the large quantities of crucifers may deplete the iodine. I give mine a cabbage dessert after breakfast because they get ample iodine in their organic kelp and unrefined sea salt. Avoid lettuces. Lettuces really aren't that great for their digestion. Dehydrated sweet potatoes and or yams, a yam is a richer sweet potato, are a leathery favorite because they're dehydrated, but too high in carbs for obese animals, diabetics, and cancer patients. Carbs should be extra low for such animals. All diseases and cancer thrive on carbs. The mitochondria, which are the energy batteries inside the cells of the animals and the humans, will run on either fermented carbs/sugars, carbs that turn to sugars, or they will run on fat, one of the two. And when you run them on these fermented sugars and carbs, it fuels all of these diseases. Water. We steam distill our own water, then we replace the lost minerals by adding drops of concentrates made by Trace Minerals Research. It comes from the seawater from the clean side of the Great Salt Lake, an old inland sea. So you don't get that, outer sea radiation and toxins and so forth. And this concentrates is similar to the minerals in Redmond sea salt, but more concentrated in the actual trace minerals. And here's a picture, if you can see the concentrates. There are some off-brands of it, and as long as they say concentrates, the contents are the same. This is miscellaneous but important, and I'm almost done here, so hang on. This is very important. Do not feed cold foods and liquids. Set out the food or the water at least 1 hour before feeding in order to warm it to the room temperature. Do not let your dog or cat graze. They are not cattle, sheep, nor horses. They are meant to eat quickly at meals and not free feed. Minimize snacks, or their digestion/metabolism will interpret frequent snacks as grazing, which is contrary to their ancestral diet and prevents between meal detoxification and healing. Therefore, snacks, including training snacks, are ideally given immediately before or after meals, so their digestion rests and repairs in between meals, just like ours should. As a topping, I give each dog and cat a sprinkle of either organic pasture-raised chicken liver or organic grass-fed beef liver twice a day on top of their food. I do lightly cook this it's the only thing that's not completely raw, by the way. Anyway, I do lightly cook this as they don't like it raw, probably because it's such concentrated organ meat. This liver also makes an incredible training tool. The purpose is socializing tool. I buy it in a large quantity, keep it frozen, and then thaw a pound at a time in the fridge 2 days, because it takes longer to thaw in the refrigerator before cooking. I bake it in a cast iron skillet at 365 degrees for only 20 minutes. Then I immediately take it out of the oven, let it cool, and store it in a glass container to be used up a little bit at a time per day. When cooked correctly and lightly, it will look pink on top when you take it out. I bake and use all of the blood/juice that comes with it. When giving monthly heartworm pills, this is really important. I even discussed this with a holistic vet, believe it or not. When giving monthly heartworm pills, I omit the green herb supplements on the day before, the day of, and the day after the heartworm pills, so as to not detoxify the heartworm pills on the day that they are taking effect. Kelp is used continually. It's not as detoxifying, and it provides all of the vitamins and the minerals, kind of like a vitamin mineral supplement. Extra detoxification is advantageous after the heartworm pills have done their jobs, perhaps with extra dandelion, spirulina, alfalfa, or chlorophyll supplements. If you use chlorophyll, this chloroxygen made by herbs, etc., is the only one that is all organic and cold processed. It is very concentrated, and the only way you can use it with them is to dilute it, and I dilute it right into my wet food meal. And that is, I'd say 18 drops of that is plenty for, which is almost a dropper full, is plenty for a full-sized dog. It'd be just 2-3 drops for a cat. Too much will only make them detox more and have very green stool. Okay, I have a disclaimer. This information is for informational purposes only. It is not intended to treat, to cure, or prevent any disease. The recipe above makes green turds. I have here for you a written copy of my 2-page menu. This is the first page. If you'd like, you can pause it and do a screen capture so that you have it for yourself. This is the second page. There are only 2 pages. And again, you can pause it and make a copy. I would be more than happy to email you a copy of Kay's raw dog food and raw cat food. Just email me at breakingthespells@gmail.com.